Hey beauties, welcome back. Today we are going to be doing a dupe video on the Nars Soft Matte Foundation and the L'Oreal Infallible Pro Matte. I pretty much think this is a straight on dupe. We are going to be wearing L'Oreal on this side, Nars on this side. They both claim the same thing. Both of them say transfer resistant, waterproof, sweat resistant, color stays true. So they claim the exact same things. This one I'm going to be wearing on this side, this one on this side. We're going to see what we come up with, if it is an exact dupe, which I'm thinking it is. And we're going to be wearing this 10-12 hours and see what we come up with. First thing that I noticed right off the bat is that the L'Oreal one is a little bit more neutral toned, even though this is Mont Blanc and it is also neutral, but it is more pink toned than the L'Oreal one. So hopefully you won't be able to tell too much of my face, since I'm going to be doing this half and this half. But yeah, we'll check back in about 6 hours and see what both sides are looking like. So jumping right in, we're using the Smashbox Photo Finish Primer Water. Primer water is a must for me, even though I have combo 2 oily skin. And then going in with the Tatcha Liquid Silk Canvas. I love this stuff. This stuff is, to me, better than the stuff that's in that little jar or tin. Although I love that too. But this actually makes my face look super airbrushed on both sides. So the other stuff is good, but it's a little bit thick for my liking. And this feels so nice on the face, although it does not fill in pores, so keep that in mind. I did have to go in with a pore filling primer, but right here my face felt so silky smooth, so I absolutely love this stuff. But there's the Dr. Brandt Pores No More. Trying to get some of that light off so you can see, but I did put this in the T-zone because I do have actually pretty large pores on the sides of my nose. So always pore filling primer is a must for me. And then just rubbing that in. And this one and the Haley's Beauty, I switch back and forth. I swear by both of them. I love both of them. I use both of them. That little guy right there just popped up on me, but both of those primers I absolutely do love. They do the same kind of thing, although I think the Haley's Beauty one is just a little bit more hydrating. So when I want to look a little bit more matte, I will use the Dr. Brandt Pores No More. And then going in with the, going to do the Nars to the right side of my face, which is your left. And going to do the L'Oreal on the left side of my face, which is your right. Gonna shake the Nars Soft Matte Foundation up and just apply that to half of my face. And like I said, I noticed that the Nars Soft Matte Foundation was a little bit more cool toned, even though they both say neutral. This one was slightly cool toned than the L'Oreal one. So just to keep that in mind. And I am in the shade here, Mont Blanc. And using my e.l.f. sponge and just pouncing this into the skin. I already know I absolutely do love this foundation. And I also know that I absolutely do love the L'Oreal Pro Matte Foundation. So when I used this one, the Nars one, I was like, wow, it's pretty similar to my L'Oreal foundation. So, dupe video. But as you can see, it gives great coverage. And I never go in with either one of these foundations with a second coat. And as you can see from one side to the other, it's very high medium coverage. So, going to go in with the L'Oreal Pro Matte Foundation on my left side, which is your right. And as you can see right there, it is a little bit more yellow tone than the Nars one. But when it was on my face, you honestly could not tell. a difference. It didn't look like I had one side one color and one side the other color, so not a big deal there. And then another clean elf sponge and pouncing this into the skin. And right away what I noticed is that even though I've wore both of these foundations, I've never wore them side by side. So when I put this Loreal one on right beside the Nars one, straight away I noticed that it gave me a tiny bit more coverage. So the Nars one gives me, I'm pretty sure you can get full coverage out of that if you built it up, but it gives high medium. And right away with one layer of that Loreal gave me full coverage. I don't mind high medium. I even like sheer to light foundations. It just depends what you're going for, what look you're going for, and how you feel that day. But as you can see, the color does not look off or any different or two different colors or anything like that. So that's good because I will be going out to run a few errands and I didn't want to look super crazy. And then just that, both sides melted into the skin. Nothing actually sat on top of the skin. So they were both beautiful. And as you can see here, I'm just showing, they look exactly the same. It doesn't look like I've used two different foundations. And this side, a little bit more coverage. So Loreal just had a tiny bit more coverage that I noticed. Gonna go in with the Makeup Forever concealer. And guys, if you use this, you need to use a little bit of this because it goes a super long way. And I learned that the hard way. So just dabbing that under both of my eyes and then using that also as a lid primer, which I do with any concealer. And that same sponge that we use the L'Oreal Pro Matte foundation, and we're just pouncing that under the eye. And this concealer here is full coverage. Like, there is no playing with this concealer. You don't have to go in. I could imagine trying to go in with a second coat of this concealer because it is super creamy and thick, and I think it would actually look a little bit cakey because it's so full coverage. But I have been switching between this one, and of course my Dose of Colors is still my love. So, but there's enough product on that sponge for me to like pounce the rest of that concealer wherever I want it on my face. And some concealers emphasize my texture in my pores, and this one does not. So, and neither does the Dose of Colors one. Just a little side note. I know some concealers can like emphasize texture and pores, but this one actually blurs them out. And going in with two different powders, that's the e.l.f. Halo Glow, and the other one is my Lancome. I forgot what it's called, but I'll put it right here. But it's the like Stay Matte one. Anyways, I mix those two. And then I am going to lightly set my face just because these are matte foundations. And I'm not trying to look like super dry or anything. So I'm like literally dusting. This is like a dusting of powder. And as you can see, one side, the L'Oreal side, and then this is the Nars side. They absolutely look the same. Like, this doesn't look any different. This does not look like two different foundations. I even grabbed my mirror to look up close to see and was pretty shocked. Like, maybe I am right. I think this is like a dead-on dupe. So, what do you guys think? L'Oreal, Nars. Can you see any color difference or anything like that? And then also going in with the Milani Silk Matte Bronzer. Just throwing that on. And my makeup went on beautifully on both sides of my face. There was no smudging or tugging or pulling or patchiness or anything like that on either side. So my makeup did go on beautifully on both sides. Just giving my face back some color because it looks so one-toned. Some dimension in my cheeks. Carve those cheekbones out just a little bit. And I always do run it under the jawline, around the perimeter of my face. And that is a Morphe brush that I use for that. And here is the finished makeup look with the L'Oreal on one side. And then the Nars on the other. And everything went on beautifully. My blush, my highlight, my bronzer, both sides, I couldn't tell I was wearing two different foundations at all. So one's just $40 and one's $12. That's the only difference. Like literally the price point. 4-hour check-in to see how both sides are looking. Let me pull down my mirror here. Honestly, both sides look exactly the same. Even though the color of the Loreal was a little bit more neutral, this side was more cool toned. You can't really tell. What do you think? Which side is better?
I think this side because it has more glowy to it.
This is my daughter.
I think this side because it has more.
Don't look at my highlighter. Look at my face.
Mostly this side because.
You like this side better?
Yes.
L'Oreal side actually had a little bit more coverage too. So, but other than that, tiny bit more.
And this side wins.
My daughter says this side wins. So we'll check back at 10 to 12 hours and give you my final thoughts if this is actually a straight up dupe or not. So far, can't tell a difference. Hey guys, so I'm back with the last check-in. I've had this makeup on for 13 hours, a little bit over 13 hours. This is the Nars side. This is the L'Oreal side. And as you can see, the Nars side is super shiny. I have a little bit of shine on the L'Oreal side, but there's more on this side, if you can see. And I did go to the store today, run a few errands, wore a mask, and I have more on this side that came off than on this side of my nose, if you can see that. So I have a little bit on my chin that came off, but for what it is, $40 side, $12 side. To me, the $12 side wins. It looks like skin. It even has more coverage than the Nars side, I noticed. And it doesn't look cakey at all. And it has less shine. Even up here, you can see there's more shine on this side. This whole side compared to this side. So, yep, there you have it. Don't spend your money. Go to your drugstore and get the L'Oreal Pro Matte Foundation.